One. Alright, so we have the Allied Final Tournament here. Game 8, Team Napo versus Team Molo. Molo up 4-3. Here, Exel casting this for you in the semifinal. And wow, this is a real turn of events, but we have Defeat and Gunner. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and call out these players?
Hey, this is
going?
Defeat. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go first.
Well, on the Axis side here, we have Molo, who's in my clan, EEF. We have STC Chris, and we have Salin.
Gunner, why don't you say who the allies are?
Well, for the allies, we have DST, a really strong UK, and we're gonna look for big things from him. This allies team. Then we got DST Crone, old player, been around for a while. Really strong France. Then we have Norway, 19. He's been a real big factor for Napo's team, in my opinion, especially with his good Norway plays.
Yeah, did you remember him taking over that one game where he did like 3 drops in the first like 10 minutes of the game, and it just absolutely crippled Spain and took out the entire Atlantic wall? Wasn't that like how often do Norways like take over a game like that?
Oh man, it's not often, but when you see that, it's great to see. He put a tremendous amount of pressure on Spain, and it opened up a lot of fronts for the allies.
So Defeat, how do you like this France attack right now from Molo and Salin?
So it was pretty standard for Molo, except right now he's bringing his BCs back. That's actually a little early because he hasn't killed all the French ground, but I think he's preparing for the East attack, and hopefully the Axis can get an advantage here, which is why he's bringing his BCs back early. If they get an advantage on East, then they can start doing other things a lot earlier in the game.
I mean, Krontoker is legendary with his Russia play, but go ahead, Gun. What were you about to say?
I was just about to point out, as if you want to move the camera towards the east side, Chris had everything high, especially on strong rushes, like Krontoker's. It's really strong for Italy to just have tanks and ghost hide, and he also had some tanks low, but it was able to stop that east attack, especially when Molo was bringing BCs. So it's good work by Chris.
He kind of had a double flank going. I saw that he was flanking from the top and the bottom. So yeah, you're right. You don't see that from every Italy. And look how many tanks that he's left with. He's got looks like at least 10 tanks, and with the other 2 bringing up, he's got at least a dozen. Great position right now.
Yeah, oftentimes on the East attacks, like a good indicator of how well the East attack went is the kills. It's not like perfect, but it's pretty good. So you see Italy has 106 kills, and Russia only has 64 kills, which is pretty bad, in my opinion, for Russia, because that means he didn't kill very much of Italy's ground or Germany's ground.
That's a very good point.
Next attack is going to be...
All right, let me just cut you guys off for just 1 second. We're having a double drop. Looks like it's going to be happening. Drops are all up and loaded in UK. They're going down, it looks like, towards France right before the AWOL comes up. And you see that the last supply depot just in the west corner is preventing the AWOL. But look at what's happening before that. Axis coming in as well. We have drops upon drops, and with air fighting, and this is extremely early, second turn. Look at what's going on.
Oh no, the drops got stacked by UK.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was tough to watch.
Yeah, so what happened there was UK's drops stacked on top of Norway's, so they were unable to unload correctly. So the Axis gained an advantage there, and the BCs were able to clean up the Allied ground real quickly.
Great play by Molo and Salin, though. Really.
Yeah, very aggressive early drop on a top-notch UK gun, like you were saying beforehand. There's really not many better UKs than Napoleon, and to go ahead and try a second turn drop followed up by Axis air on him is really aggressive. But look how it paid off. They knocked out all the defenses in the front. Yeah, they've only damaged the heavy industry, but they took out a starport and now forcing the second starport to retreat. So leaving it wide open for after Med to have Salin, Spain, be able to go ahead and drop that. But as we're talking, we have Krontoker on East. He's going for a heavy second attack.
There we go.
A nice solid 265 heading in. He's using the scouts to take out the SCVs, but look at all these Axis troops. They're just layers upon layers, Ghost, bunkers, BCs, tanks, just getting all kinds of there's no way he can even get any sort of marine cover for the UK air to get any sort of shots on it. UK is already flying off. There's got to be an indication for Russia to stop at this point. Like, really, you're just suiciding your men.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to point out, Rev, you know, Norway's not with Russia. But in the same instinct, you know, you gotta respect the Krontoker Russia. Like, you have to stack that East. You know, you got to. He's one of the best Russias in the game, and you know, I think Allies, their only option here is just to open up different fronts. France take Africa, and you know, just keep them busy around other areas of the map, and that would alleviate some pressure off of Kron, and we'll see where this game goes.
Well, like you were saying about how good Lurker was earlier, look at what he did just in this first AWOL drop. He knocked out the entire AWOL, got every city in France except for one. I believe there was just one on the southeast corner that was still alive, and they knocked out the Paris BC. So huge value for Lurker on his first drop, and just being able to target, being able to time that with Russia, as the BCs had to remain east, and as well as the bulk of the ground to stop that very powerful Krontoker Russia, and he's able to get crazy good value out of that drop, and doing a big part for the smallest country in the game.
Yeah, if we could take a look at Med Island here, that's stacked up. Chris doing a great job coming over, helping Spain.
Yeah, buildings, drops, just sending everything there. This is really the new advanced Med stack, because as you can see there, about 80% of the troops never even came out, and they were just trigger blocked.
It's interesting too because Germany didn't even come down.
No,
because
he didn't even need to.
Yeah, well, he was actually busy with another.
Well, nice pushing in Africa. France being able to get all the way to Algiers. Unusual bunker placement there from Chris, going really, really far back, bringing the BCs to help clean up the men. But Kronos doing a good job clearing all the way in Africa. And that was all set up by Napoleon, clearing out Egypt in the first turn as well as the early part of the second turn. And no real sort of bunker wall that's been able to be built up as of yet. And it really has to go really, really far back west, which is an advantage for France, because when he brings his mechanized units, he's still getting all these triggers with all these tanks and Goliaths, and possibly going to be building Dragoons. He's going to be able to get a huge glut of troops towards that Algiers front. But as we're talking, Krontoker is coming down through bulks. He just keeps attacking. I know I've criticized him a little bit in the past for just being a little bit careless with his men, but that's his style. He just throws huge amounts of men at you continually all game, and you're just forced to have to deal with it. But great RAF stacking.
Napo's doing great.
Look at Napo. Great air control there. That just swung the game. Whereas the Axis had a huge lead before that. Now, massive control. That just changed the whole game. It's game over now. Napo in the air.
Yeah, Napo being one of the most dominant UKs.
That was super high level there. That was beautiful to see. Like I don't. If this wasn't a match game, everyone would be saying GG right now. That's how dominant that air battle just was.
Especially, I want to point out, especially because Molo probably has the best air control of any Germany.
Yes, exactly.
Right now, and he watches his BCs. Like no other person. He controls his BCs like no one else. So for him to lose his entire fleet,
that's saying about Napo's UK.
Pretty impressive, yeah. Exactly.
Napo was running about 300 APM there when he was controlling those groups of air, and here we have Lurker. Looks like he wants to go in shortly. for another drop of France, but if he does decide to drop there, he's going to find out that nothing's left. We have
Yeah.
Italy rebuilding here in the west side of Germany. Really does not want to lose those two valuable buildings in the barracks and in the CC.
And Chris doing a great job in Africa.
Right.
You know, not giving it up. I think that's really, really important. That they don't give up Africa.
What do you guys think about this really defensive far back bunker wall? Because I don't remember the last time I've seen a bunker wall there. It's literally been that long.
In Africa?
It might have been like 2012 or something. The last time that I've seen a bunker wall there.
Yeah, that actually is like an old school bunker wall. It's just because
And
France
it's
was able
bigger
to push
too.
all the way up to Libya, so he had to pull all his troops back until his BCs got there, and it was just a matter of timing, I think.
Looks like the
but
BCs
yeah.
are going back, and that's actually probably a smart move. Molo needs help right now.
Now they could also combine to go into Norway. They could combine to finish off UK with both German and Italian BCs together, so that they have options.
Yeah, I think they might be looking to retain back here before the tax at 2.
Okay, so we have France pinging out the Italian BCs over in Crete.
And we have
he's calling Molo, Napo to come around. Raf is
Yeah.
in Egypt, and let's see. I think he's going to be able to get him. I don't think that Chris is going to be able to pull back in time. This is going to be a disaster for the Axis. They're going to lose every single BC that they have. And
there it is.
That's so game.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's just Napo being Napo.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah, I mean, they didn't really have any other ground, but
I mean, they did the best possible thing at that time. So when RAF goes to Africa, it's a good idea for Axis to try to secure UK because there's no air presence in UK. So they did the right thing. They lost the Italian fleet, but they did take back UK.
Yeah, I know that's something that a lot of good Germs and good Axis teams they like to do, and especially when you get that tax before 2, it's so important. And here we go east.
All right, we have Salin who's starting to bunk up UK. We have
Oh, the
Lurker
fire
going ahead and
bats.
putting the dropping fire bats,
Ouch.
but that's not doing a whole lot. Wasn't the type of area you want to be dropping fire bats. And Lurker with an uncharacteristic slight drop fail. Krontoker seeing that, pulling his valuable tanks back, and he's probably going to also want to pull his scouts back if he can get to them in time.
Yeah,
There,
nice
he
job by
gets 2 of
Axis
them out.
really stuffing that attack.
Yeah, so this is a very weird game. Normally, in this series, we've seen Axis able, with Molo's great air control, able to stack up, amass a large amount of BCs, and then you also saw allies being able to push in with multiple fronts, especially Russia being dominant in previous games. In this game, you see Russia actually getting crushed, but
Yeah, the Axis
Oh, they're
seems to
air.
have more ground than allies, doesn't it?
yeah.
I think that first hold was really well done by. I have to give Chris, I guess, most of the benefit of that one, being able to keep all those tanks off that first hit. And
We look
even
at
though
UK.
yeah, also went UK. Norway's up
So-
in UK. That's what I see you're talking about, and a nice drop stuff. And I love Molo keeping his BCs over in UK like this. Only having 2 or 3 BCs like he has with about a dozen air isn't going to do a whole lot on the east front, but is able to stuff the Norway drop that would be coming in to retake the island.
Very, very risky though. Here we have
Big bunker wall by Chris getting busted up by Krontoker, and these tanks are just eating this ground up.
yeah, beautiful, beautiful job by Kron.
This might even be just a probing attack. He's just going to keep pushing. When he sees the bulk of the Axis forces come, just watch. He's going to pull. But with Norway coming in as well, could be possibly blocking these tanks from advancing, but this could mean guaranteed core if they focus it, and that's exactly what they're doing. Core
Nice job
locked
by
up.
Stalin.
And they got everything that they
Very
wanted
nice.
from this. They're just trying to get as many tanks away as possible. I don't know if Lurker needed to drop in that instance, but doing so at least secured the core.
Oh yeah, definitely secured the core. I mean, Lurker's just been all over the place. I gotta give Lurker credit. Coming out of retirement and joining the tournament, you know, he's been a real factor, like I said, for Napo's team. France taking Africa. This is huge for Ally because
Oh, dude,
the
thanks for mentioning that.
taxes.
I didn't even notice the that Algiers wall being taken out. But I guess just like we were talking about earlier, when you get enough mechanized French troops, that they're able to take out the bunker walls as long as the Axis don't bring any air down. So good call on that, and that's a nice tax over to the Allies, just as you were saying.
Well before D-Day too, which I think is huge.
Do you think
Well-
Kronos goes Turkey at this point, or do you think he tries to drop?
In actually the past few games, he has been dropping islands and dropping Italy, so I would expect to see that again this game.
We have a big attack over here in Oslo. The Axis going in, I don't think they got that
Nice
Oslo
cover
tax,
drops.
but they at least were able to come in, take out the buildings around the capital, take out the defending troops, and not lose BCs while he was doing it. There we have Spain reinforcing with drops, but I'm not sure if he's actually going to drop now that 2's already been reached, and reconsidering that as Salin. And it's probably a good move. You really want to be going Norway right before that 2 tax, because you want to be denying them, especially that Oslo capital tax, and possibly trying to get it yourself. So he's going to go ahead and reconsider where these drops are going. By the direction they're heading, it looks like they're going to either try to secure UK, or they're going to go up towards the USA and try to stop that D-Day. And if he goes towards USA, I think he's going to like what he sees.
Well, let me ask you guys something. How many keys do you think?
Well, look at the north of Scotland there, and that's a disaster.
Man.
And Salin
looks
didn't
like
necessarily
UK's
want
trash.
that, but
that actually wasn't too
that was
terrible
okay.
for Axis.
That was a good trade.
Salin's about to make turrets, I'm guessing.
yeah, most likely.
For
Especially when
D-Day.
you see all those
He has-
SCVs being dropped there.
He has over 2,500k minerals, so.
See the BCs coming up. Here they are. Ground there. Turret working for them. 2 countries worth of scouts being able to help out.
Wow.
And D-Day Forest taken out. Drops
Nice
are
job
in
by
a wrong
Axis.
position. They are about 30 seconds too late there, these Norway drops. They would have had to drop into Scotland when that air battle was taking place.
And then
So-
we have East.
Krontoker's about to go east, and also if you look at Sicily, at 4 minutes 10 seconds, carriers will spawn, and Kronos is preparing for that.
Yeah, he's got those stacked.
Very nice. Very
That's something
nice.
that
by Kronos.
is good Francis always make sure to take care of, and I have to admit I tend to forget more times than I should.
Even though Allies lost D-Day, lost air, this game isn't really over unless Axis go very aggressive here, which I don't think they will. Pretty thinned
Looks like
out.
they're countering. This is an aggressive mood.
Very nice, very nice. Good call.
Does seem like a good call.
Yeah, especially because Kron, if you look at the top right, Kron only has 200 minerals left, so he will not be getting any more troops until 2 minutes. So it's a good time to.
Okay, we have
Hit
France being able to drop onto Spain, and here's this first drop that we're talking about, going ahead and following up with the D-Day troops. Now, he should see the timer right now and should be focusing on getting as many troops and as many cities down as possible. Yes, all of France has been taken, but it looks like they're just going to be a trade of tanks in this
He
fight.
just got his trigger too.
Yeah, so not a whole lot France can do against that. A lot of Spanish tanks. But let's take a look on the east on this Russian attack.
Yeah, it looks like they're Chris is pulling.
Yeah,
Might be
Chris
some
is
miscommunication here.
That's a good call, but if you're the BCs here, you're not going to want to be over too much land when you see all your ground forces pulling out. You don't want to get
You know what?
surrounded and get dropped.
Yeah, but you know what? That just might be Chris and Molo, and you know, trusting each other's gameplay. And I think Chris knows that, like you just pointed out, like Molo doesn't want to get dropped on his BC, so he'll probably make a nice little slip out here through the ocean, knowing that Napo doesn't have air.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty big concern that if you look in northeast of UK right now, you can see Molo or Napo's fleet, and it's actually all the way down to just about one key.
Napo's low.
So
He just
yeah,
ran the BCs right up into Scotland.
so
Yeah,
it's actually a huge concern for the Allies because they'll probably be out-aired for most of the rest of this game.
Especially with Norway getting his resource.
If you look at East right now, actually Molo's doing
not
a
gonna be
great job
dropping for a while.
flanking the tanks. So this is
Oh,
huge
yeah.
for Axis.
That hurts.
If you're Germany right now, do you think possibly going Algiers is the best play? I mean, I know we see what's happening, but D-Day's already happened. There's no use going USA. You just crippled Russia.
And Norway.
And you crippled Norway as well, taking out their 2 barracks that were floating around. Devastating loss for Lurker. Is going to have to rebuild that this next turn. It seems like the BCs would be more useful going towards Algiers than heading up into Russia here.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Napo getting 2 Lend-Leases.
Yeah, so
Huge,
Napoleon
huge,
just
huge.
took back an industry somewhere, so that means that he spawned American Lend-Leases in UK. So we got 2 of them just now, so he tripled his raft size.
So important. If there's some coordination between the teams here, these BCs are way out in the open. They would have had to jump on these BCs. It's
And
an
Kronos
opportunity.
with a nice drop in Rome, really spreading the
There's
axis.
Napo going diving into the BCs, but he's also got Krontoker's air. He's going to try to get as many as possible. He's got 2. He's got 3. Let's see. The scouts are coming to fight. He's got Russia
nice
as well
move.
as UK fighting, but
Oh, Napo pulled there.
Great. Yeah, that was actually a win for Allies. Though.
Yeah,
There's a
and
slight
that was
win
good
there.
that Napo pulled. Seeing that Chris's ground was on the way. Oh, getting a phone call. Mute that.
You have to
So-
think Chris is not being very aggressive with his Italy. He's kind of plugging up the holes wherever his team needs him to be. But he's not really using his drops in any sort of aggressive type of manner.
Yeah, I think that comes also from the respect that demands. He was getting destroyed in the early game, and if you look at the kills now, also kind of a good representation of how the game's going, even with Italy, which
Molo
means that
rebuilding his cyber.
they just come back a little bit. Yeah, Molo. Rebuilding that cybernetics core. So
Which is being attacked right now. Let's see if they're able to clear it. It doesn't look like it. Looks like the Axis are going to be able to take it out, but let's see. Can they take out the forces? Oh! How much? 59.
And then we have BCs in Alge. Good job by Kronos.
There we go.
Really holding it down.
You called that, Ram. Yeah, you called that.
Well, let's see. There's enough defenses here to make this difficult. Not impossible, but this is a big win for the Axis if they can clear this out. Yeah, looks like they absolutely are. It's not going to be game over by any means. It's just going to mean that Kronos is going to have like 1 less tax haven. Is going to have 1 less staging area to be doing surprise drops to the Axis.
Also, if we look over in the Middle East, you can see that Napo is about to yam a bunker near Ankara. So this is a pretty common thing. If France does not take Turkey, UK will do it after their Africa trigger with all the vet infantry. If you look at Turkey, UK is about to send all his men into Turkey and secure Turkey, and that'll give him some extra tax and a few extra men. And he'll be doing that.
So Russia's attacking here, but I don't even know if they have enough forces to take out the Axis forces. As you guys have mentioned previously, the Axis having quite a lot of ground troops compared to the Allies, as you'd see in a normal game. Lurker dropping as Norway, able to get some of the drops off. some of the ground down. And it looks like with the combination of those two, just barely being able to get the ground advantage. But as soon as they see these BCs, they're going to want to pull. I don't know if they're going to want to take this fight. You definitely want to get these tanks out of there.
That was a great hit by Allies.
It was.
And that was an awesome drop by Lurk.
It ended up where it was the difference in that fight. Without those drop units, Kron Choker's getting crushed.
Really securing that flank for Kron Toker really helped them out. Pushed by Allies. And then we have Kronos doing a good job with Napo, some teamwork, retaking Africa. Hoping to get that tax before 2.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of troops into there, and I'm sure Napo would prefer to be taking Turkey right now, but they know how important this African tax is. And Stalin, also knowing that, is not willing to give it up, doing a second drop in this turn just to be able to try to push the Allies back. And with that force, it's going to be pretty even. These are all vets from Napoleon, so it just might be enough. And with the lure from those tanks, it's definitely going to be enough. Let's see if Stalin loads up a third drop to come back down and swing this in his favor.
Yeah, so this game is actually pretty characteristic and pretty similar to the previous games where Molo's team is Axis and Napo's team is Allies. Molo's team has done a great job in the past of getting UK for Africa, but it seems like in all the previous games, Allies are just getting a little advantage, a little edge late game, and they're able to open up a lot of fronts here. So it seems like Kron's crawling back. Kron Toker, Russia, is crawling back into this game, and Lurker will probably do some more drops in West. And they might open up the game like they have in their previous Allies victories.
Yeah, I'm really curious, too, to see DST Kronos, where he's going to be. But definitely an interesting game. Really aggressive on both sides. Really aggressive. Especially from Napo and Molo.
I'd kind of like France Kronos to be trying to steal away as much tax as possible from the Axis and just try to starve them and have that be his main function. So at about 3 minutes, right before that 2-minute trigger, dropping Rome, dropping France, with a good 4 to 6 drops, and being able to knock out as many cities as possible, and just starving this Axis team out over the long game. And that's where the Allies win, is in the long game, and it's being able to tax more. There hasn't been a single attack onto Wells, and now huge investment being put into Algiers as both countries, UK and France, trying to stack this up, and realizing that it's a big part of them potentially winning this game. Missile turrets are now starting to be rebuilt. The probe is also being active here in Algiers, and fighter support is just down. The position seems a little bit off to me. I don't know if that'll actually work. Maybe you guys can.
Looks like they're going. Probably a smart move throwing Kron.
Well, they had imperfect information, but a huge amount of the Allies' force is in Africa, so they didn't know that, and they still decided to pull the trigger on Russia. And like you said, it's going to be an extremely smart move, and the Russian tanks better get out of there, or they're not going to be much long left in this world.
Very clean. And then no, they won't be left here in this.
keep an eye on Napo's RAF in near Siberia area. Yeah. He does out-air Molo right now, so if he ever has a chance to get an open shot on these BCs, he will take it, and he'll kill all of them. So Molo should keep an eye on his BCs and make sure they're covered by ground during the full attack.
Ron's filling up whatever bunkers he can, and it's doing some damage, but really there's only so much they can do against this overwhelming force.
Stalin doing a great job stopping Kronos' drop in Rome. But I don't know, it's looking very slim right now.
Still was able to get that tax, though. He was able to take out the 2 cities tax, but probably not as much withdrawal as he would have liked. And Russian tanks being trapped in the far east corner of the country. How often do you see the German BCs in this part of the map? Almost
Very
never.
nice job by Axis. Very risky though. The only thing I don't like about that is they're way too deep. They're way too deep, and Molo's out-aired.
They're in prime flank position and starting to run out of ground troops.
And since Kron Toker just got a tank trigger, very, very risky. But, you know, Chris doing a great job keeping tight with Molo. Very good, very good.
Remember what's on the line here, guys, is if the Axis pull out a win, which it seems so daunting in this tournament, with the almost perfect win record of the Allies going over so far, but they immediately advance to the finals, and we might have a finals series in this event, and whereas previously looked that it would never look like it was going to happen. So huge implications for this fight and this tournament. Honestly, I'd love to see a couple more Axis wins. Like, I really have no favorites in this tournament, but I really don't like how the Allies have such an overwhelming advantage. But here we have Napo coming in to go ahead and target the BC. They go ahead and got 2. They're going to go ahead and get 3. They got the 4th one, 5th one just locked up. 6, 7. They're going for the 8th. They got the 8th. They got the 8th. Oh, not able to get the 8th, but able to lock up 7 BCs out of the 8. And with the Allies, they should be able to muster enough troops to clear out this Axis force, and if they can't, then they're in a lot of trouble. But this last BC at 25 hit points, 13 hit points, literally, if there is a blow in the wind with a pebble in it, this BC is going to go down. And there's Napo. No,
here goes Napo.
Yeah, just one of those shots has got to hit it.
Job.
8 BCs down, Axis air taken out. Really, when this happens, your allies need to really step up big, and Chris and Salin, they're going to be needing to do some big things on this map, because when you don't have the German BCs to rely on, you have to be taking cities, you have to be evening up the tax or taking advantage in the tax, and you can't just be happy to sit around and not have Africa and not have any cities anywhere else in the map.
This is the point in the game where it looks like France is actually becoming one of the stronger allied countries. And you can see right now, if you look in Algeria, Kron's loading up his drops. He's probably going to drop Rome again or something like that. I'm actually a fan of France coming east at this point in the game because Germany has no real air left, and drops can be pretty risky if they have the land stacked. He's actually going to Rome right now, and it looks like
he needs to get it before too, or it's not really worth dropping there. And he wasn't able to get it.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of France coming east at this point, especially with how powerful he's getting. But we'll have to see what Kronos decides to do here.
I mean, he's distracting them, but really that drop had to happen 30 seconds prior. And dropping all these probes is really not going to get any value for you. He's just going to run up his troops there, and you're not able to get anything meaningful with that. I actually completely agree with you, especially after seeing the BCs going down. Really, 4 members of the Allies going east with spending all their money on ground troops. There's no way that the Axis can stop that. There's no bunker wall. There's no tank advantage for the Axis, and then they've just had all their BCs taken out. So Germany's got 2 BCs, and he's trying to micro them in Norway, but I mean, how much is that going to do? It's not going to do a lot. And Salin getting all kinds of money. How long has he had UK for? It's been what, like turn 3?
Yeah, he's had UK for a long time. I honestly feel like Salin should have gotten America by now. I'm a big fan of, like, I do the clockwise rotation as Axis. I like to get UK, then sweep through America and Canada and go to Norway. And I'm actually really surprised that Salin hasn't gotten America yet, because that's actually tax, America and Canada. That's tax that adds up for the Allies, as well as the production of the starport in Canada that Napo is getting. So we'll see if he tries to take that.
Yeah, the 3 cities, and they're not 100 cities either. They're valuable cities.
So, we have a fight going on here.
Yeah, big fight in Leningrad, and Molo is going up without the help of his team. Chris wasn't following up with him, and this is what happens when the Axis don't fight together. They're doomed to die alone. Kind of sad, kind of like some relationships.
So maybe there was, maybe there was or has been some between Chris.
I'm not sure if they've had the Discord running. I know Chris has been probably the biggest proponent of the Axis in particular, running Discord, or running a chat program, because communication is so vital. And there you see it. Molo, with what little army he had left, went into Russia, and would have been fine if Italy went with him. It's just Italy was about 30 seconds behind, and by the time he got there, already Germany's troops were destroyed, including what was left of the BCs. Yeah, there was only 2, but still, a little bit of a misplay by Lurker here. It's not going to be worth it. Thankfully, he doesn't drop everything and lose it all.
So this is a good point in the game, as you see in Africa, since Salen is not going for America and Canada, he's doing the other route. He's going for Africa. So he's going to try to sweep all the way east through Africa to the Middle East and see if he could probably take out the wells, now that the Allies are kind of vulnerable.
Well, if you see right about all the money invested in missile turrets, instead of the BCs having to go through them, having Spain clear them out at a much cheaper price, with the price being nothing, you just have to put ground units around them and they're just going to destroy them for free. Could be an advantage. Now, France was able to take most of that tax and got his 4 scouts out for that turn from the fighter support bay. But Salen is going to be able to clear this out. I don't think he's going to be able to go into Egypt or any sort of advanced placement with these troops, but is able to clear it out. And honestly, with this type of late style of game, like I was saying before, you're fighting for tax, you're fighting for cities, and African cities are the most contestable. So honestly, it seems like a really good move at this point. Yes, the USA Canada would have been better, as we were talking about. We were talking about this before D-Day, but he's doing what he can right now, and this is a sizable enough force to be able to clear all the way up to Egypt. But I would not advance if I were them. But hey, I'm not them, and they have tanks and they have scouts, and they're looking to be aggressive. So let's see if this works out.
Yeah, so they're going for Egypt right now. It's going for Egypt as Axis has not in the past years been a very common thing, but this year it's actually been very common. A lot of Axis teams have been doing this, and I kind of like it. A lot of people like it because I feel like the Allies don't really expect it. By now they kind of do, but in the past they haven't. And as well as you get a lot of tax money from this, like you were saying, it is a tax game now, so it's very ideal for the Axis to try to get this.
I've actually been a huge fan of this Egypt taking out from the Axis and then putting pressure on the Middle East. And I've actually been a bigger fan than most about this, probably since like the 2010, 2012 era. But the thing is I'll get Egypt and I'll bust it up, but I won't get Middle East and I won't get Wells, and I lose the game. So I've stopped doing it because I want to win games, and it just doesn't seem like it wins me games when I do it. It's probably because I'm not doing it correctly, or I'm not working with my team enough. But yeah, I love the move, but it just getting Egypt is not enough. You need to get Egypt and then press into the Middle East, or it's not worth it.
Yeah, great job by Kronos here. Really just putting a stop on that huge army that even with Molo's help with some air, and then he drops it when he gets to Egypt. Just a great job. I've always been a big fan of Kron's France, and he's just a strong player in general.
So actually, just moments ago in north of Oslo, near that city, there's two left and like 5 English Spitfires left. There was a big fight just now that you might have missed, and all the German air was taken out. So there's actually
And now the BC, German BC,
Yeah.
flying into Oslo. Hello.
Yeah, that was the last air unit that Molo had.
Scared.
He has one in
Right.
France now that just spawned, but so it's a very common thing at this point because all your buildings, all your starports are destroyed, all your factories are destroyed. For Germany just to mass Marines, and also Italy to mass Marines, and I'm not a big fan of that
UK
because
is doing this as well, honestly.
yeah, a lot of countries are starting to mass Marines, but Italy is getting these tank triggers, and tanks mow down Marines. Kron actually hasn't upgraded his tanks very much. He only did 2 into his the attack for tanks, but they still just mow down infantry. So right now, I would put my money on allies to win this.
Now he did that 2 upgrade really early on, and then never touched them since. So that's probably a strategy that he has, kind of unique to him, where he does that first 2 upgrade, gets his tank triggered, and then able to go in with them. But we have the Axis trying to hold on into Africa. SCV being taken out, but it doesn't look like they're going to have enough of an advantage. With these tanks, they are able to get a good fire line, but with all these presumable veteran Marines, let's take a peek at them. Absolutely.
Napo
veterans.
just got a lend-lease. It looks like Allies is getting ready to make back here.
Hasn't this just been an epic game? Like, what a first game for you guys to cast. Like, honestly, 3/4 of the game are
thanks for
not nearly
having us, Rob.
as entertaining as this. And yeah, just happy to have you guys want to jump in and cast these with me. So happy to help. To have other guys in the community, long-standing members. I've played with you guys for how many years? Like, it's got to be maybe towards the 15-year mark. And yeah, just calling a Allied Final tournament in 2017, almost 2018. I have to be the first one to admit that five years ago I thought this was never going to happen.
Yeah, well, we're I don't know about Gunner, but I'm getting kind of old, so I'm getting close to that retirement age, so I need something else to do. So casting might be an avenue for me.
Fresh legs, man.
Yeah, this is a good.
Gotta stay in shape.
This is a good game to cast. And you see the German infantry attacking Russia right now, and just a wall of tanks.
Yeah.
Wow, and honestly, like I think
Molo
this is pretty much GG here.
Continually.
This is the icing on the cake right here.
This is the late game tank triggers that everyone's been talking about lately. Where
yeah.
But you got to give Access credit here. They really fought it out.
They did.
This is a tough Axis team and a tough Allies team. So I got to give both teams credit here.
These guys are top. These guys are all like top players in their respective countries. And maybe not the best, but I mean that they're in the discussion of being the best. And that's what I'm just saying. I'm just backing up what you're saying about how these are the best of the best going at it. And this is why these are such great games to cast and why this is so interesting to look at.
And there goes the GG. Wow.
Yeah, that game had a lot of swings.
What is it, 45 minutes
check
this
out,
game? Let's see, what is
check
it?
out
43-33. Pretty close on that estimation.
UK with the resources.
Yeah. Just slightly surpassing Germany. So that's the power of the wells.
Huge.
So
Huge.
getting
Napo
more
really
resources overall than Germany.
And that's what kept Allies really.
Look at the kills for Salad, 775, and I always like to compare the kills of Spain versus Norway to see that they're impacting the game. Spain should always have more, but it depends on always how much more. And 775 kills versus 447, that's a massive gap. That's a huge gap, and it just shows that. Yeah, Salad, he did his job. He did quite a lot of work that game. He was able to secure
Agreed.
UK early, and Chris was solid. Chris was solid on East,
How about Lurker just everywhere on the map, getting AWOL, retaking UK?
He was,
Um,
but all his moves weren't complete successes as we've seen in the past. So they were
Yeah.
successes
very true.
Yeah,
brought in with
Lurker had
failures.
what we would call Lurker's off game, which was actually a pretty good game anyway. Because normally he's so dominant on it. But yeah, he was
He
all
stuck
over the
with
map.
it. He definitely, yeah, he was all over the map. He stuck with it. Great game.
All right, well I'm gonna go ahead and
Like
close
I
this
said, thanks for
recording.
having us, Rev.
Hey, Gunner, defeat
Thanks,
legends of
man.
the community. Rav Excel, I'm here. I'm the mouth, and we're gonna do some more games. Series tied at 4-4.